Okay, so this is a quick video to go with the worksheet that you should have, adding and subtracting fractions and mixed numbers. Most of this is pretty much revision from last year, but it doesn't help to go through again, but it does get on to some difficult questions at the end here when we look at adding and subtracting algebraic fractions. Right, let's just concentrate on this for the start. What I'd like you to do is just have a go at these, fill in the multiples of these numbers here and think about the lowest common multiple. Okay, pause the video and try and do those yourselves. So the lowest common multiple of 5 and 3 is the lowest number that 5 and 3 both go into, which is 15. The lowest common multiple of 9 and 6 is the lowest number that 9 and 6 both goes into, which is 18, etc. Okay, now that's linked to adding and subtracting fractions. It's got something to do with the denominators. I'm going to show you that now. Now it may well be that you don't need to listen to the examples I'm going to go through. The reminder that you've got on your sheets here will be enough. If that's the case, you can stop the video and you just get on with the questions that follow. So you've got some questions there and I will have added the answers to those afterwards so you can check as you're going along. If you do need some help, just carry on listening then. So when the denominator of the fractions is exactly the same, adding them is very, very straightforward. You just add the numerators together. That gives you an answer of 5/7 there. When the denominator is not the same, then that's when it becomes tricky. So let's just see what that looks like. So here's an example here of what 3/5 and 2/3 would look like. So imagine, there we go, that's 3/5, so I need to shade in 3 of the 5 parts. There we go. And if I wanted to add to that 2/3, it would be 1, 2 out of those 3 parts there. Now then, adding those together as they stand wouldn't make any sense as we've done for the first one, and we've got to do something quite clever with that, or with the amount that they have been divided into to be able to do it. So we can't just add those because they've not been divided into the same amount. However, what we can do, if we just have a look at this for a second, this might help us a little bit. If I'll take this across and move it over here, that will give us a clue as how we need to divide those up. Okay, so I'll just remove that shading for a second. The first one has been divided up into fifths, the second one has been divided up into thirds. However, if I divide them both up into thirds and fifths, in other words 15ths, then we can get both fractions having the same denominator. So that's still our first fraction there, 3/5, but you could say it's actually, what is it, 1, 2, 3 times 3, which is 9/15. So that first fraction there can be written as 9, let's have a pen, can be written as 9/15, and the second one, 2/3, if we want that in 15ths as well, then we've got to share the denominator into 5 more parts, which means we've got to share the numerator into 5 more parts as well. So that's 10 parts out of 15. So 2/3 is exactly the same fraction as 10/15. Okay, and if you just like a nice quick method for that, what we've done is we've multiplied the denominator there by 5, so we must do the same to the numerator so that it remains the same fraction. Okay, so we can rewrite 3/5 added to 2/3 as 9/15 plus 10/15, which gives us 19/15. Now that's okay as an answer, but it's a top-heavy fraction. Usually we like to write that as a mixed number. So how many whole ones and how many 15ths would that be? Well, 19/15 is 15/15 and 4/15 more. Why did I write that? Well, 15/15 makes a whole one. Whoops. So that's the same as 1 and 4/15, and that's probably the best way of representing that answer. Right, so here's the second one, and you notice here we've got 2 mixed numbers that we're adding together. So I've got 2 and 2/7 and 1 and 5 21/21. So that's the same as 2 and 1 whole ones, and 2/7 and 5/21. So this bit is easy, isn't it? 2 plus 1 makes 3, but I've still got to add together 2/7 and 5/21. So how do I do that? Well, I've got the same issue that I had before there, where I've not got the same denominator here and here. So what I've got to do is change the denominators so that they are both the same. So we're looking for the lowest common multiple of 7 and 21. So what number can we think of that 7 and 21 both go into? The lowest one we can think of is 21. So I've got to change both fractions so that the denominator is 21. So I need to change this one. The second one's already done, it's already in the correct number of 21 there. So 2/7. Right, what have I done to the denominator? I've multiplied that by 3. Let's do the same to the numerator. 2 times 3 makes 6. So 6/21 is exactly the same as 2/7. So I can now add them together because I've got the same denominator. I've got 3 and 6 plus 5 makes 11/21. And one more. Here I've got subtraction. So 1 whole one and 1/4, subtract 3/8. Well, let's change the denominator so that the same here. 4 and 8. Let's change them both into 8s. So that's 1 and 2/8, isn't it? Subtract 3/8. Now, I've got a problem here because this amount here is bigger than this part here. 1 and 2/8, subtract 3/8. Well, you might be able to see what that is without doing this next step. But what you might like to do is to change this into a top-heavy fraction. So 1 and 2/8 is like 8/8 and 2/8, which is 10/8. Subtract 3/8. So therefore our answer is 7/8. Now you might have been able to do that without that conversion, but that's a nice simple way of doing it. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is go back to the worksheet, and those are the examples I've just gone through there. What I'd like you to do is go through these questions, and if you find those easy enough, you should get on perhaps to the algebraic fractions. A couple of examples for you at the top and some questions for you there to try. Good luck with that.